YouTube, it is the Meta Weekly Top 16 every single week, bro. Today we are running a special event. It is the TCG ban list. What does that mean? Well, looking at Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta for the TCG ban list, we could see that Max C is banned. Apollo USA is banned, which I think makes Nibiru a lot better and more prevalent in today's event, likely. Baron de Fleur, banned. Borreload, banned. Fiendsmith Lacrima, banned. This is not my ban list, this is the Konami TCG ban list. Link Decoder for Maliss, banned. Original Sinful for Snake Eye, banned. Link Karibo, it's banned. Totally Awesome is not banned. We have Fenrir, fully unlimited when limited to 1 in Master Duel. Triple Tactics, limited to 1. Terraforming is unfreaking banned. Are you ready? This is it. By watching as long as you can, that greatly supports the event. And through the TCG ban list, the hope is that the meta will be more diverse. It could be crazier, it could be more unbalanced, but I don't care when Yu-Gi-Oh! Is unbalanced. I want Yu-Gi-Oh! To be as diverse as possible. The most different decks within the meta and events and tournaments and the ladder, I think the better Yu-Gi-Oh! Becomes. And that likely is what we're seeing as we're going to start this off with Mermail against Yubel. Are you ready? Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Another benefit of the TCG ban list, I think, over Master Duel is that decks are less homogenized, where they're not forced to play the package of they have to play 2 Max C, and because everyone's playing Max C, we have to play 3 Ash, and because everyone's playing Max C and Ash, we have to play Call of the Grave, which is also limited to 1, and then a lot of people have to play Cross-Out Designator. I think this allows some people to potentially have a more viable strategy. I'm not going to say it's the best, but maybe you want to play a hand trapless deck and just play board breakers as an option. There are many decks that have top tournaments, even won tournaments, with not a single hand trap because of Max C not existing in the ban list. Are you ready? Begin. Tenpai still plays a ton of hand traps. We're going to, with the throne, searching for the Samsara D Lotus. The Lotus is going to summon for the deck, our Spirit of Yubel. While we don't have Max C to check the opponents from over special summoning, we still have Full Loss. And then we have a card like Nibiru being a lot more prevalent because you can't make an Apollo to negate the Nibiru. Negate the Spirit of Yubel. Triple Tactics Talent is limited to 1. We're going to look at the hand, return the Minstrel. Back into the deck you go. As we're going to further make our plays, returning the Yubel and the Engraved Lotus to make our Phantom of Yubel. What we ended on is just one form of disruption, a monster negate, and that's it. It's not a monster removal, doesn't get rid of it. And we do have Dark World No More, which will simply negate the monster negate mate. And now the monsters are destroyable by battle. But the Spirit of Yubel, when destroyed by battle, will summon a Yubel from the deck. We have Trickstar Light Stage searching our deck for an Aqua Angel. You what, mate? We're going to make a Sea Angel with the Aqua Angel. Now, the Aqua Angel has the effect of look at all cards in your opponent's hand and set on the field. All right, we just looked at their hand. We now know they have a Full Loss that's dead and a follow-up Throne. We're going to Marinta's Dive. This is not actually a Mermail deck. What is this? It's a 60-card water deck. Anemone is going to be reborning Sea Angel from the graveyard. I think a valid criticism of the TCG ban list is it could be more viable to have a special summon slop deck. Is that the right word? Where you just put a bunch of engines together and you just spam special summon, because Full Loss and Nibiru is not enough to keep a strategy like that in check. As we're going to special summon our Poseidra, sending the Dragoon, search our deck. We're going to send from the deck Squad to bounce the Phantom of Yubel back into the extra deck. Let's search our deck for the Infantry, trigger the Squad to reborn from the deck and as the Throne also triggers from a Yubel leaving the field, we're now going to summon from the deck or add to our hand. Now, well, we could kept it there if we wanted the battle effect of when they attack, we could special summon it, but instead we're summoning it. Spirit of Yubel on someone is going to be doing nothing as the Marintis Wave negates. Due to having a Marintis Link on the field, it's going to be unaffected, as we also negate a monster on the field. We fully negate the card, so they are destroyable by battle, but they still have the additional effect of summoning a Yubel from the deck, so we have to think of a way to play around that, and the way to play around that is don't destroy them. Bounce them. Let's make the Poseidra Abyss to bounce away the Throne, but not the Spirit of Yubel's on field. As we now make the Bubble Reef, we're going to send the Infantry to trigger the effect of Poseidra to reborn 3 monsters in grave. We're also going to use the effect of Tidal, Dragon Ruler, banish 2 waters to reborn from engrave, but boost up our Bubble Reef. Are we going for lethal damage by simply attacking over both monsters? If we have 8,000 over just 2 attacks, this could be it. We have Aqua Angel reborning from Engrave, turning ourselves into the blue slug. A deck like Unchained was the best deck in the TCG because Maxi didn't exist, and then Unchained came out in Master Duel, and Maxi keeps it in check. So as you can see, we are special summoning like crazy. Now, if we read this, does the Marissa's Dive put us in a restriction? Let's read this. For the rest of this turn, you cannot special summon except water monsters. You controlling the effect of Zealantis is special summoning your opponent's monsters that you banish. But if you can't summon water and Yubel is not water, I can't summon your monsters back. They're gone. Let's reborn everything but your monsters because I can't. Sorry, I would, but I can't. Full loss is going to be further drawing if they summon from the deck or extra deck. 10,000, why couldn't we attack? We're in main phase 2. What did I miss here? Did we miss our attack? Let's banish from our graveyard to draw a card here. Bubble, oh, Dark Ruler, right, thank you. No damage for the turns. We did get rid of the Spirit Yubels for good. Dark Beckoning Beast attempting to search our deck as the Marissa's Wave negates. Now, we do have the battle effect of Zealantis within the battle phase, which will be able to non-target pop up to 2 cards on the field, but that was enough to scoop it up Marissa's Wave after banishing the entire field. Nicely done. 60-card Water Slop takes it for game 1. Lancia, we could not banish as a Yubel player. Do we even care if we can't banish? Let's search for the deck, Yubel, and then the word banish. Yubel, Yubel has not been doing too well. Let's see this. Let's type in Yubel. This triggers on banish. The Gruesome does banish to reborn a monster. That, I guess, is the most relevant effect that we are stopping against Yubel. Grave Squirmer cannot banish. We are able to link off with their monster, which is a disruption, into a Little Knight, which is a disruption, into another disruption because it banishes twice. We have Desiree to non-target negate up to 2 cards in the field. We have Yubel, which can negate a monster effect. We have Droll Lockbird to further disallow from them adding from the deck to the hand. That's about 6 forms of disrupt. Droll is another card similar to Maxi where it's supposed to end their turn early, keep them in check from over-searching their deck, which if a deck is special summoning a bunch, they very likely are also searching a bunch. We have Neptabyss, which is going to send from the deck Infantry to search the deck. Desiree is going to negate the search, but then the Infantry will trigger Engrave to pop a face-up card in the field, or at least attempt to do so. Phantom of Yubel, instead of being destroyed, is going to negate the heavy infantry from destroying it. We're now down to 4 forms of disruption as we pop a Spirit of Yubel instead of the effect of popping a face-up card to summon a Yubel from the deck. We're going to send the Abyss Pike to summon the Poseidra. Poseidra is going to send from the deck a squad to return the Soul of Rage back to the hand, as the Soul of Rage is going to link off with the Poseidra, a disruption, into our Little Knight. We have 3 disrupts left. Squad's going to activate to summon from the deck. Little Knight on summon is going to banish away the Neptabyss. Now, Neptabyss Prince wants to be sent to the grave by card effect to then further reborn a monster from Engrave. As we now have the Abyss Dine. Dine on summon is going to reborn a squad. It's going to turn both bodies into a Crystal Heart. And now we have the Battle Ocean. We're going to special summon a Seahorse as we now go into a Sea Angel. Sea Angel with the field spell can give us a dive that can now summon from the deck. We're going to Droll Lockbird as our final form of disruption is just Little Knight Chain Banish. As we summon a Blue Tang from the deck, Blue Tang is now going to get banished away by the Little Knight, as we're now left at 0 disruption left. Now we have a secret disruption on the Desiree if it were to be sent to the grave, but we don't have a way to send our own Desiree to the graveyard, thus we're at nothing. As we're now going to go into a Coral Triangle, trigger the Spring Girl, trigger the Anemone. Anemone's going to add the Spring Girl from Engrave back to the hand, as the Spring Girl is going to be sending cards off the top of the deck. Let's mill just a Veiler. Spring Girl's going to banish the Anemone to summon itself onto the field, as we turn the Spring Girl into a blue Slug. Slug is going to have the ability of target a Marincess Engrave, add it back to the hand. Spring Girl is back. We already used up our normal summon, as we now link this off into a Bubble Reef. Bubble Reef will draw a card during each standby phase. We're going to send a water. This effect, I think, is rarely used. special summon a banished Marincess. Okay, so we banish Anemone to then summon it back onto the field. We're now going to turn the Bubble Reef into a Zealantis, and this is where you have to check. Do we have the lingering effect? We do. The lingering effect of locking us in a water only, thus we banish and the cards don't come back. The untargetable Desiree just got non-targeted banished off the field, and it is not coming back. Reborn back, a co-linked Anemone. We have the Lacrima Crimson Tear reborn the sequence here. We do have the ability to non-target pop up to 2 cards in the field. Lord Yama's going to trigger off of a Fiend being destroyed. Let's reborn the Spirit of Yubel. And now, let's non-target pop away the Nightmare Pain and the Spirit Gates. Little Knight, bring back the Blue Tang. PJ Styles has no form of disruption outside of the battle phase. Only within the battle can we non-target pop up to 2 cards. Let's speed this up. And it being a non-target pop 2, I would say that means that Little Knight could turn it into pop nothing after you activate. On the resolution, it will check the co-links, and there will be none if you chain banish, so they really are nothing. Let's equip the Engraver with the Requiem, send the Requiem to send away the Zealantis. Let's make the Muckraker, which can lock us in a Fiend only, but reborn a Fiend from Engrave. To battle we go. Not big enough to take out Anemone. Why is she so large? 2200 attack when normally is 2000, so just a 200 boost. Muckraker is going to protect the Little Knight by sending the Soul of Rage instead. As we now Seahorse banish from Engrave, Little Knight's going to chain banish away itself plus the Anemone. Anemone has the effect to reborn a monster Engraved to where it's pointing to, so the Little Knight at any point could have chain banished to stop it from reborning. But now the Coral Triangle activates. If only your opponent controls a monster, can you banish this card from your graveyard to special summon link monsters that equal 3? Link 2, link 1. Let's turn both bodies into the Marbled Rock. Marbled Rock is going to target the Bubble Reef, returning it back into the extra deck. We're going to special summon the Aqua Angel. As we now turn it into a Blue Slug, which will target the Spring Girl Engraved to add back to the hand, which will special summon itself onto the field. We're going to activate the Abominable Chamber to reborn a monster from Engrave. This reborn will be the Soul of Rage, which could link off of the special summon monster, which normally is into a Little Knight, which instead will now be a sequence. 2 monsters, including a Light Fiend. Soul of Rage is not a Light Fiend, which means the Soul of Rage does nothing. It is not a disruption. We have nothing to link off into. You what, mate? Let's further go into the Bubble Reef. Bubble Reef is going to send away the Spring Girl, reborn the banished monster. As we go into a Zealantis, banish the entire field. We are in a summon lock due to the Coral Triangle. Coral Triangle locking us up, thus the banished non-waters cannot be summoned back. We're going to be reborn the Requiem, but we probably don't play the Fiendsmith in Paradise to turn this into a form of disruption. Requiem's going to jump off the field to summon from the deck a Crimson Tear. Crimson Tear on summon, send Engraver here. Engraver is going to be returning back Engraver to reborn from Engrave. As we normal summon the Lurie, turning these 2 bodies into a sequence. Fiendsmith Lacrima is banned. We cannot use it in today's event. Aerial Eater is going to be fused into, using the graveyard, send from the deck a D-Lotus, Requiem equipping onto the Engraver. Let's sequence, further equip onto the Engraver. Engraver sends sequence to send the Zealantis to the graveyard. Squirmer banished to reborn a Fiend from Engrave. Spirit of Yubel is now here. As we go to the battle phase, big enough to take out the Anemone. Anemone, if sent to the grave, will target a Marincess to add back to our hand. As we further take out the Coral Triangle, direct attacks, not enough for game, as our only form of disruption is just going to be Little Knight. Little Knight, and that's it? I feel like Yubel is not really doing a lot. What's going on? I think Phantom of Yubel is limited to 1 even, right? This would be a reason why I would not want to play Yubel. Limited to 1 Phantom, we're still playing it. We're going to chain banish with our Little Knight, as we have the Mandarin Engrave reborning, as we're going to further go into an Anemone. Battle Ocean is going to, when you link summon a Marincess, you could equip up to 3 Marincess links with different names from the graveyard, one of them being the Crystal Heart. The Crystal Heart states that your monster is unaffected by card effects. I think that's on the field spell, that is, right? If we have a Crystal Heart equipped as, if the material of Crystal Heart was used, I'm sorry if it seems like I'm tripping up. I'm trying to figure out where the Crystal Heart protection is. Monster you control in the extra monster zone that were link summoned using the Crystal Heart are unaffected by monster cards, or all card effects, that is. Was this used to make the Anemone? So it's not that it's equipped, it had to be used to make the Anemone to be unaffected. Let's Poseidra bounce the Engraver back as we summon from the deck a Dragoons, or I should summon from the graveyard, right, with the Nept Abyss. There is so much happening here. What the heck is going on? Let's Battle Ocean, further equip, 4,300, end the turn. How are we on turn 7? I feel like nothing is really happening. What is this? We have the Argonaut with the ability to negate a spell and trap card. We are going to negate. Not today, mate. Negate. And summon from the back row. Now that should be our only form of disruption. Both players pretty much only putting up one disruption back and forth. We are just fighting for board presence. Brute forcing it, equipping with the Engraver, the Sequence, and the Requiem. Let's Engraver send the Sequence to send away the Bubble Reef. A constant back and forth until it looks like we timed out. Or we surrendered. Wow. We ran out of gas. A lot of people don't think about this, but Marintes has really good recursion with the Coral Triangle being able to reborn a bunch of bodies, the Anemone recycling a body engraved when sent to the graveyard, in addition to reborning a monster from engrave. It proved to be way too much for Yubel, thus a 2-0 victory for Mermail Marintes. Begin. 7th Ascension is going to be searching for our 7th Tachyon. This is more susceptible again, Drone Lockbirded, and I think Drone Lockbird should be more relevant in today's event without Max C. So in addition to the Floodgate, we could also pop 3 times and negate. And we have the Ryzeal Cross, which could replace a pop with a negate. 5 disruptions, mate. What do we do? Well, Imperm, turn off the detonator, not the Baguska. Okay. Well, we now have 2 disruption. Let's Super Poly, discard to fuse with the field. Let's fuse it up with the Baguska and our Sleepy, making our Mood Dragon. Ryzeal Cross is going to still negate the Sleepy as we further turn this into a Typhon. Typhon is going to bounce the detonator away back into the extra deck as the Aggregator could optionally activate. Wait, how big is Aggregator? It still is activatable, which would negate Typhon, which does nothing, as we now pass back to Ryzeal. We have Node, which could reborn, Ice, which could summon for the deck. We're going to draw a card with the Ryzeal Cross. Normal, the Ice, activates summon for the deck, our Sword. Let's speed this up. Ryzeal obviously has this in the bag. Let's make the Detonator our one of, which was returned back, as we now make our Duo Drive. Duo Drive is going to attach from Engrave. As we further summon the Node, send the Imperm from the hand, reborn from the grave, further make our Light Dragon Ignister, pop away the Typhon, and just like that, 8,700 damage for game. Ryzeal very much is still a viable deck in today's event. Normal the Goblin, Imperm negate, you what mate, now our Pirellias are dead, our Sleepy can't be summoned nor activated. What do? We are screwed. Maybe we should have, I don't know, passed? Would passing the correct play? Double Pirellia them? I don't know, mate. That is bad, really bad. Wow. This is what it looks like when a hand trap is balanced. Can't be used because you committed to a card on the field, and just like that, dead, 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 dead. 4 dead cards. Aggregator is going to chain link block the Ryzeal from, let's say you had an Ash Blossom to negate the X Ryzeal. Now you can't Ash it. Let's Ice, which you would Ash instead. Star Ryzeal, set up the field spell here. With the Ryzeal Cross, we're going to go into the Detonator. Let's speed this up into the Inevitable. The quicker they get rid of the Goblin, the quicker we could drop a Pirellia, as Cross can negate at least one of them. Yep, search for 2, summon the Node. Mind you, with the TCG Banlist, Ryzeal is a bit weaker. A bit. Boost, 6,000 attack. Ryzeal Cross, return 2 cards engraved to the bottom, draw 1. To battle we go, just like that. Let's activate the Pirellia. Yep, Pirellia number 1. Do we negate? Pirellia number 2. Got you, mate. We're going to draw 2 cards per summon from the hand, and Ryzeal loves to summon from the hand. Special Ice, special Node, special X Ryzeal, normal the Ice. Summon Star. Draw like 4 or 5 cards, right? Damn. 2-0 victory. Prelia to beat Ryzeal. Did not work. We have 2 Mulch armies, which are now immediately dead. 2 hand traps gone for good. We're forcibly committing ourselves to having to build a field, and if they have enough hand traps to stop us, we then lose. We're going to Horse, activate the effect to send from the deck up to 3 cards. Horse gets negated. Let's further link off the field into a Little Knight. Pass. Damn. Back-to-back getting punished with the Mulch armies in hand, unusable. Now, the Little Knight with Mulch armies can be quite decent. If we banish an effect very early into the turn, we will then be able to use the Prelia and Fualos. Wedju Temple is activated to put 2 monsters in the back row, 1 from the hand, 1 from the deck. Senju is going to be summoning from the back row, searching for another Senju. Senju putting itself in the back rows. The Little Knight is now going to chain banish away the Senju off the field, allowing the Fualos and Prelia to be activatable. An inherent special summon would be something that's not going to activate, and that would be the Doom Dragon before you even activate the Fualos. Knowing that they could summon that, do we drop a Fualos right here, right now, which will just get fingered? If we know the Fualos is susceptible to getting fingered and we want to activate it right now, maybe we throw out a Prelia first. We did it. Are you going to finger my Prelia? You did. Always protect your better hand trap. Have them finger something else. If you have a Max C, have them finger your Ash instead. We had them finger the Prelia, protecting the Fualos. Perfect. That's exactly how it should be done. Throw out the lesser hand trap first. It's such a small detail, but that one thing can always lead to victory. Likely, sometimes, always 50%. Let's Smiger search for the inclusion. Inclusion, further searching our deck for the Tristaros. We have not committed to a normal summon yet. Once Tristaros hits the field, we're going to be in a position where we could respond to any activation from the opponent to summon for the deck and perform a synchro summon. Let's summon the Sulfaneer, pop the inclusion here. With the Tristaros and Sulfaneer, we make the Crystron Alesk. Alesk is going to add a card that's banished or engraved back to our hand here as we grab a Smiger. We did already commit to the normal summon. As Tristaros now pops the Crystron Synchro to summon 2 bodies from the deck and another body from engrave. As we now, inclusion, further summon from engrave. Yusuf is scooping it up. Was there no way for you to, I guess they're going to have lethal damage. We're not going to draw here because they're summoning from engrave. Even when protecting our Fualos with the Prelia, it still led to our defeat. Starting off with a Dark Blade, attempting to pop itself to summon for the deck. Where are the choke points of Memento? Just the first card, and you hope to get lucky, and you do. It happens. It happened twice. We negated the Goblin, we negated the Dark Blade, they didn't have a follow-up. Just get lucky and you win. If you're instead waiting for later in the turn of them going into the Creation King or even into the Memento Horse, it could potentially be too late at that point, as they're gonna have too much other resources that you allowed them to gather up. And it really does feel bad when the best advice is just negate the first thing and get lucky. Imperm, negate the Sulfador. We're going to Tristaros, activate to summon from the deck. We're going to Imperm, negate the Tristaros. Now, let's read Tristaros. Tristaros is going to summon from the deck and then synchro with monsters you control. It does not have to be with the Tristaros. So we could have summoned a tuner, and then the tuner with the Sulfador could synchro, dodging the impermanence. Thus, we do need both. Negate the effect to dodge my first impermanence mate. Negate the effect to send 2 cards from the deck to the grave. As we further turn our field into the Crystron Alesk, Alesk is going to grab back a banished or engraved card. We have Tristaros using the effect of summon 2 cards on the deck. This is a great use of your Ash Blossom here. I wouldn't Ash Sulfador. I would Ash the effect of Tristaros summoning 2 from the deck, but I would use Imperm or Veiler on Sulfador, if you understand that. Let's Smiger to the face. As we further swing in, Crystron could struggle with performing lethal damage. So we're going to be extending this duel, a duel that we should have just won, as we now go into the Excel Synchron, and not one if Abdullah played better, one if the deck had better ways to go into more damage. We do have the ability to synchro during their turn with the Tristaros and the Excel Synchron, and we can pop cards with the cluster. We can negate with the Ash. We have 4 forms of disruption. and we pretty much have one play. We have 2 starters, but none of them are extenders. A better deck like Ryzeal would be a starter and extender, but what's the hard once per turn here? Your normal summon. You can only normal summon 1, it gets negated, you're done. There you go. What? We didn't ash that. Wow. Okay, we now droll. Sure. Special summon the horse, as we're going to use the Tristaros to chain in response to the horse. We're going to use the Excel Synchron to also synchro with the Sulfaneer. That's not a Baron de Floor, because Baron de Floor is banned in today's event. So instead, we're coping on this. Is this much better than Baron de Floor? Obviously it isn't, but what does it do? During the main phase, quick effect, you could tribute this card to take control of that many face-up monsters your opponent controls, but their effects are also negated. So in response to them activating, take control and negate their effect. Let's summon for the deck to go into, we have a monster negate, take control, plus a spell and trap card negate. We have the Crystron cluster, which could pop. We're gonna take the horse mate as we further go into a Typhon. We could pop the Typhon with the cluster before it activates to bounce back the Dragster. And we do exactly that, wipe away the Typhon. So while it wasn't a Baron de Floor, it was still pretty good. Okay. 2-0. Special summon the horse. Horse is going to pop itself plus send up to 3 cards in the deck to the grave. Gaddock, when sent by monster effects, is going to reborn. Add from engrave the mace to our hand. As we set pass, what are our forms of disrupt as we reset up the Memento Fusion? We can negate an interaction with the graveyard, which would be called by the grave. We can negate the Creation King, which could pop multiple cards on the field. We can negate the Creation King, which would summon a monster. I guess what we would want to do is Creation King try to pop, then Chain Bone Party pop, and then summon into an Anguish, which would grab a Mace, and then Mace could take control of a monster. So we at least have a Disrupt. This can go into a Guardian Chimera. We could pop, we could Ghost Spell. About, I would say, 4 disruptions. Fluid Loss it up, which will be used against the Bone Party and the Memento Fusion to draw. We're going to Creation King pop the Dormouse before it activates. We're going to use the Mouse and Mirror to negate the combined creation to banish the Dormouse. So a good ruling would be, if Mirror wants to banish the Dormouse, does it have to negate to banish the Dormouse? Is it reliant on that? Let's read that. The effect of the Mouse and Mirror states, we could highlight it here, target, banish a Maliss, and if you do, negate. So the banishment is actually reliant, the negate is reliant on the banishment in order to negate. So this would not stop it. We're still going to banish the Dormouse, and then it would just come back on the field, dodging the Creation King. We're going to Mouse and Mirror, banish away here, as the Dormouse now comes back, ready to activate, but we're now going to take control of it with the Mace. Magnum Hunt's going to banish the Mace from engrave, which the Ghost Spell could have negated. We're okay with it. Why would we not Ghost Spell negate the Magnum Hunt? Well, Ghost Spell negates a very important card, and that very important card, not only the March Hare, but I would say also the Mouse and Underground, negate the activation of this. But if they do have another copy, another one would be activatable because we're negating the activation. So definitely better things to negate. Triple Tactics talent with the take control. we were gonna take control. Dormouse has been taking a full round trip in this game. From the field to getting popped, to getting banished, to coming back, to taking control, to taking back control, to then now tribute off, to dodge it being taken back. You're now going to take control of my combined creation. Or my Goblin. You want the Goblin? What do you want? I'll take the 5,000 attack monster, please. 5K to the face. Let's get to it. Let's do it. Main phase 2, further banishing the Goblin. We're going to hold on to that bell all day. We do not care. The Lizard Dose is really good for banishing a Mouse engrave that has not yet been banished, but Dormouse has already been banished. So what is it good for? Draw a card. Let's draw. Into YOLO, Allure of Darkness. This is it. We could full combo from here if we draw into the right card. No, that didn't work. Did not work out. Memento Fusion's going to fuse with the graveyard into our twin dragon, True Ashen MTP. We have to fuse in the main phase, and you're under the effect of Fool Loss, which I'm gonna be honest, I think you forgot because now they're possibly drawing into plays. That's a big oopsie. You couldn't wait till the end phase to activate because it's not activatable in the end phase, but bruh, full freaking loss. We're going to, as I said, Bell can negate the March Hare or the field spell. Instead of negating the Bestials, we waited. Now, it of course does not destroy. The March Hare will stay in hand. You have Dark Blade, which will summon, pop the back row, combo the grave, and the turn. It worked out despite giving them a free draw under Fluid Loss. Off the top of the deck with Anguish, we have two plays. We could pop some for the deck, we could summon, search our deck for Sleepy. Dark Blade has to pop a card, and then the Sleepy would be activatable to summon from the hand. Gaddock, when summoned onto the field, will add Engrave a Memento card. Memento fuse it up. We're going to Baldrake banish away the Twin Dragon before the Memento fusion tries to return it back into the extra deck. Not really a big deal, but the Baldrake is going to be able to banish whatever you newly summon. That newly summoned card being the Creation King. Creation King has the option on summon to send, then it will not be able to pop two cards on the field, and due to that, now the Baldrake will be able to banish it. Let's tribute away the Druid Swarm to banish Creation King and send the Gaddock. You cannot chain the poppage within the same chain of activating to send. We have the combined Creation Engrave ready to reborn. Sleepy's going to summon. No fusion summon, of course. There's no other bodies. As the fusion pops, the Sleepy to search for a fusion. As the Sleepy, when popped, will send for the deck. And we're also going to reborn a level 2 or lower from the grave, as the Acheron, when a Memento is destroyed, is going to trigger to reborn from Engrave. Let's Gaddock come back out. Sleepy send the horse. Acheron's going to allow Creation King and the combined Creation to attack directly this turn. Little Knight is now here. We're going to banish away the Mouse and Mirror, triggering to banish the Dormouse to search our deck for a White Rabbit, all thanks to the March Hare, triggering this. With Dormouse out in the field, it's just an extra body in the field. Remember, we can attack directly. If we can make a Creation King, we win. Now, what was the immediate reason to have to pop off with these effects? Why then? Well, if we waited for the combined Creation, which does not activate, once it's on the field, if the opponent activates anything, this would be able to reborn back in the field another monster or summon from the hand. Well, this is a situation. The combined Creation now inflicts piercing battle damage, but it also has the additional effect of, while you control no other monsters, it can attack everything. While we control Little Knight. Or do we? We attack first, then Little Knight will kill itself. Did we miss lethal? Little Knight, attack Baldrake, so you get the effect. You would attack everything, you'd win. Right here, right now. No! What the? Miss lethal, 100%. Take out the Little Knight. No way Mouse wins this now. No, it does not. You activated your Malice. I'm going to trigger the combined Creation, reborn the Anguish, searching our deck for the Acheron. Lingeribo, ready to negate a trap. Further link these two off into our own Little Knight. Little Knight, banish away the combined. We're going to chain Memento Fusion, as we're going to further chain the Little Knight to banish itself plus the Anguish. Now, Memento Fusion can only use the grave if a Memento were destroyed this turn. We didn't have a valid fusion. How did the fusion resolved with no effect? Because we could only summon a Guardian Chimera, which requires 2 bodies plus a card in our hand, or 2 cards in hand plus a body on the field. No way. Damn. Yeah, we did have it. We had it. Unfortunately, I think we forgot to, obviously I didn't think. We just forgot to kill our own Little Knight to gain that additional effect. Dark Blade attempting to pop itself, as we're now going to chain the Ash Blossom to negate. What do we normally do? We summon an Anguish and then search for the horse. Well, we already have the horse. Summon the horse, horse activates, send up to 3 cards in the deck after popping ourself. We're getting ready with that Nibiru. When is the best moment to whip it out? Ideally, we're going to have a Little Knight plus a combined Creation to protect us from the Nibiru. Let's make the Twin Dragon. Twin Dragon on summon is going to get Nibiru now. So this is hoping that they don't have a Memento in the hand to pop, as the Twin Dragon is going to destroy a Memento in the hand or face up to search for 2 cards. So what do? We pop nothing. Got the Bone Party set up into the background. We could chain banish. We could fuse into a Creation King or a Guardian Chimera. We could imperm negate. We could set up the ability to take control of a monster with a mace. And, about 4 disruptions, I'd say. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we actually get 5 as we were born the Creation King. Now that just got negated. Now we lose the Little Knight, but we're now going into the Guardian Chimera. We have Imperm, we have Guardian Chimera, double disruption. It gets negated. If we don't have a chain link block for the draw effect and pop, no draw, just like that, we're in big trouble. And with a GWC in the back row with the Dormouse, if it activates, they could chain banish only if there is already a banished or engraved Maliss to dodge the impermanence. Do we have one? No. So Imperm completely stops the Dormouse and that's it. Activate, negate, can't GWC. It's got to be an MTP or a TB11. It is neither. Thus, the negate goes through. The Bone Party must pop a Memento, which we do not have. 2 Bone Parties, you what, mate? But we do have Memento Fusion to pop the Guardian Chimera to grab a Memento Fusion. And let's read how the Memento Fusion works here. Only if a monster in your possession was destroyed. What's crazy about this is it doesn't state that if a Memento was destroyed, the Guardian Chimera was destroyed, thus we can now use Mementos from the graveyard for the material. Let's reborn the Goblin with the field spell after the Guardian Chimera, and that's another crazy thing. The field spell doesn't care that it was a non-Memento being destroyed. So the fusion could pop a non-Memento, the fusion could use the grave if a non-Memento is destroyed, the field spell triggers if a non-Memento is destroyed, giving you that additional synergy with non-Memento cards in your deck. Gaddock add from engrave the Dark Blade. Dark Blade could pop the back row card on summon, not even activatable. Dark Blade pop in the Gaddock. Gaddock, if sent to the grave by a monster effect, can reborn if it didn't already do so. We're gonna add the Sleepy. Sleepy has to be a Memento being destroyed to summon, I believe. That is not going to be anything. The turn any monster in your possession was destroyed, even a non-Memento, Sleepy could special summon. That is wild. We don't care if it was a Memento or not. We're going to summon it from the hand and then fuse it up into our Creation King. Looks like we definitely have this duel in the bag. Let's return 5 cards engraved back. We activated the effect of Acheron, right? This turn to attack directly? I don't think we did. Not that it matters. Lethal damage. Dormouse got banished on the attack. Why did that happen? Why did it get banished? Why was it banished? What effect banished it? Twin Dragon's effect? Has an effect to banish when the monster's destroyed? What? Any monster destroyed by battle with your Memento monster is banished. Whoops. We didn't really want them to have that benefit, but it did. Okay, 1-in-1. Secret effects. Wow, that's what you get. And also, the deck is less weak to Lancia when they have the Ignister cards. Right now, it skips their turn, but it's not going to as often skip their turn as soon as the new cards come out. Ash, negate the Foolish Mate. Well, we still have Impulse. And will the best use of Impulse be on a Memento Fusion? Or do we Impulse the horse? If we Impulse the horse and they have no extenders, we win. Well, we're not going to take that gamble. We're going to pop the horse, send 3 cards to the deck to the grave, trigger the Gaddock. Do we Impulse that? We're going to Ball Drake instead, of course, which is much better. But we have Ghost Spell to negate the Ball Drake banish of the Gaddock reborning to add back from engrave to our hand. We have the Anguish, which could reborn the Mace and then search for a Memento Fusion. Gaddock add the Goblin. This is not as big of a deal as Gaddock adding back a Sleepy. Now the Mace reborns. Mace will pop to search our deck for the Memento Fusion, which we could be waiting for with the Impulse. There we go. Impulse, negate. We now know they can't Nibiru us. No fear of Nibiru. No fear of Apollo, which is already banned. No fear of Maxi, which is already banned, but that's what the Impulse further turns off. You can't Maxi, can't Apollo, can't use your Nibiru. Let's Twin Dragon pop, searching for the combined creation. It is turn 2. We already ball draked. Lancia skipped our turn. Well, this looks to be it. Sleepy sent from the deck. Acheron, return 5 cards in grave or hand back to summon our combined creation. Couldn't game. What? Okay. Let's draw off the top of the deck our Impulse. We do have Dormouse with a bluffed GWC. In response to the, before it activates, we're going to Bone Party. What are we going to do? I think we want to take control of that Dormouse. What do you think? You think what I'm thinking? Impulse says, no way. I'm not going to allow you to take control of my Dormouse. But the combined will trigger afterward to Reborn Anguish to search for Mace to take control of the Dormouse. So I'm still going to do it. You stopped me, but you didn't. Can we banish the Anguish with the Baldrake? I think we have to. It's activating to Reborn, and what are we reborning? It has to be Anguish. Any other card will not result in a disruption on the Dormouse. So do we know that that is the plan to summon the Anguish? We have to banish now. There we go. There we go. We did it. Nicely done. Get rid of the Anguish, because this is a non-target summon. Wow! What? No way! Damn! Oh my... All right, we scoop it. That's crazy. It really came down to the wire. That was a close one. We almost took control of the Dormouse. Begin. Normal summon, a White Rabbit, Imperm, negate. We have the card that dodges the impermanence by setting it before we activate if we wanted to, mate. Negate the White Rabbit. Now, we do have an extender. Now we set it. We do extend with the March Hare. Link Decoder is banned. Can't link decode. So we're going to banish away the White Rabbit. We're going to turn all 3 into the Red Ransom. No Link Decoder reborning from the graveyard. And of course, Apollo is also banned. We're going to MTP, banish away the Red Ransom. Ash is going to negate the effect to search, but it's of course a cost to banish. Thus, the Red Ransom comes back and banishes a monster from the deck. In addition to that, we also have the Underground, further banishing a mouse from the deck. Dormouse is now here. What is the Nibiru check against Maliss? I would say the check is, I'm about to summon a Binder. And I don't want you to summon Binder, so before you have the opportunity to Binder, that's when I'm going to Nibiru. It's not a negate check. It's like a resource check. You don't want me to gain too much resources. As we're going to grab a Chessy Cat in the hand here, March Hare, banished to add back to the hand. We already banished a mouse with it, and we just end on a token. Now, we have a Nibiru of our own, but Ryzeal can much more easily play through a Nibiru. When we have our own Nibiru on our field, it does stop one of our core plays, and that would be the X Ryzeal gets screwed up. X Ryzeal, when it's summoned, cannot add if we control a face-up monster that's not a level/rank 4, which would be the Nibiru. And this is why you see some people play Lizard Dose. Lizard Dose is a link 2 with your Nibiru or Nibiru token situation. You could banish itself to draw a card, and then you have nothing on the field to then summon the X Ryzeal. Let's normal the sword, which is a good indicator that the Ryzeal player is desperate. Hit them with the Droll. We have the follow-up Triple Tactics talent. We're going to summon the Ice Ryzeal, sending away our impermanence. We have Detonator attaching a monster from Engrave. To battle we go, 3k to the face. Now, the Detonator, is there like, why do we not look at their hand? I don't, what is going on? We drolled in the main phase, obviously, right? And then look at their hand and return a card back is not something we want to use with it. Okay, well, we do have the ability to pop 3 cards. Let's March Hare, banish away the Red Ransom here. Detonator, in response to you activating, pop 1 of 3, wipe away the March Hare. What is good as the Ransom further banishes from the deck a Dormouse. Are we going to detonate again? Detonate, take away the link 3. We're left with just the final pop. You could use Triple Tactics talent under Droll. You just can't can't draw 2. You choose which effect you activate. It's different than a card like Kick Kalos. Kick Kalos on the resolution is when you're choosing, so you don't even tell your opponent, it's on the resolution, I'm sending or adding. You don't really know until it resolves. But Triple Tactics and Stratos is specifically activating the effect. We are going to Splash Mage. So if I activate Triple Tactics to take control, you can't Ash, because it's not maybe he could draw 2. It's no, I'm not activating that effect. You cannot Ash. We're going to set the MTP with the White Binder here. Let's further go into the Access Code Talker. Boost. 5,300 attack. We're going to wipe away the detonator just like that. Binder when banished, come back and draw a card. Access Code Talker, further banish away the Splash Mage, take out the Nibiru, and lethal damage. Pot of Prosperity banishing links. Now, the Pot of P banishes face down, right? Is it banished face up or face down? I forgot. I think it's face down. But even if you were to banish a link monster from your extra deck face up, it's not properly summoned. Thus, if its effect when banished is to come back onto the field, it does not. It's got to be properly summoned. Tachyon is going to be searching our deck for an X Ryzeal. We did not want to Ash that. It would have just been fingered. Call by the Grave is limited to 1, by the way, as the Ash negates the X from searching. Now, Full Loss is an extender. Why? Because it's level freaking 4, mate. We extending into the Duo Drive. Extend it up. Search our deck for the Ryzeal Cross into the Sword Ryzeal. With the Cross, we're going to special summon the Sword, search for the Ice, summon, further go into the Detonator, detonate, attach the Aggregator from Engrave. We have the ability to pop 3, negate, and finger a card Engrave, 5 forms of disruption. We're going to chain Forbidden Droplet. Just sending a spell, so this means the Detonator could chain to pop itself if we wanted to, if we had a way to reborn back with the plugin. But of course, even if we had plugin, the Harpy Feather Duster is wiping away our back row. And with that, all forms of our disruption are now just a single Aggregator negate. Nothing else. We will detach when we want to negate. This would be a moment to do so, because we're going to negate the Dormouse once it hits the field with the Aggregator on the new chain link. Dormouse comes out, Aggregator negates, and now we are at 0 disruption after negating the Dormouse. Can't make a link decoder. Let's March Hare, banish from Engrave, turn all 3 into the Red Ransom. Red Ransom is going to grab the mirror. The importance of the decoder, obviously it's a plus body in the field, but what is it really accomplishing? It's accomplishing a way to banish your Red Ransom, where if you don't have a card in the field to negate with the Malice and Mirror, you grab a field spell. How do you field spell banish the Red Ransom if you can't link with it, get it into the grave? Thankfully, there's a body on the field though, so the link decoder is not needed here to ensure that our Red Ransom gets banished to get the effect to come back and then banish a card from the deck. Let's come forth. I think, okay, I mean, I was going to say, like, we could have tried to pop our Duo Drive. I mean, the fact that the drop would only negated 1, leaving the other non-negated, allowed us to even activate the Mouse and Mirror, so it was in a good way. I'm not sure if we thought of that play. I don't want to negate the other monster, because then I can't use my Mirror to banish my Red Ransom here. Let's take out the Aggregator, banish the Chessie, come forth back onto the field. Damn. Malice without Decoder. Without Apollo. Now, we had a really good board breaker. Droplet is amazing against Ryzeal, but still, a 2-0 victory? Damn. And this deck is only going to get better on Wednesday. You up, mate? Take out the Detonator. Not enough for lethal because we did not get to boost up with the Dormouse. Thus, we have the GWC to give us our lethal damage. Finish him. 2-0. Let's barrel, attempt to grab our Lordy Load from the deck to set up a Drill Beam. I don't think so. Negate. we have the ability to disrupt, pop multiple cards in the field, veil or negate at least 4 forms of disruption. Are you ready? Now, Call by the Grave could try to finger a Spirit Dragon, but then the Spirit Dragon could stop the finger from fingering the other one by summoning an Ultimate Dragon. You'll see it when it happens. We're going to send Aggregator for the Ryzeal. Aggregate is going to target the Spirit Dragon to negate. Now, we Chain Link blocked Aggregator, which could have been negated by a Spirit Dragon by just negating it if we were directly chaining to it, but we have the Ryzeal higher, and this is when we're about to possibly finger. Now, it's public knowledge that we could stop the finger, so should we even finger or should we wait? Veiler, negate the Ryzeal mate. Can't even really finger it. We don't chain because we know that they're going to be able to chain the Spirit Dragon into an ultimate, and the ultimate says your opponent cannot banish cards in the grave, so we don't even bother. Now with the Ultimate Dragon, wow. Ryzeal is scooping. Doesn't even want to see them go into the Crimson Dragon, into the Cipher. We have a negate anything on the field. Cipher will negate a monster effect, and the Majesty will pop up to 2 cards on the field. 3 more forms of disruption. No real good moment to use Called By. If anyone was wondering, he really could not Called By. He couldn't finger anything. Engraver, it is Fiendsmith Ryzeal. If we don't have access to Mitsurugi, then Fiendsmith Ryzeal may be the best way to play. We are going to negate the tract from discarding the Lurry and searching for a Fiendsmith. As we further go into the Lurry, Requiem, summon from the deck into the Crimson Tier, send from the deck an Engraver here, Engraver reborn by returning back the Lurry. Let's turn both bodies into a sequence, which will surely eat the Veiler or Impermanence. Veiler negate the sequence from fusing with the graveyard. Cross out Designate, negate the Impermanence mate. Let's chain a Veiler to further double negate that sequence. Negate. Now, Tachyon searching for an Ryzeal can't search the deck because we have a sequence stuck on the field. What can we do about that? We can't really do much. This stops it from being a viable play. Now, we do have Droll. The Barrel Dragon is going to be setting up the Lordy Load. Lordy Load will be searching for a Drill Beam, which we're going to hit them with the Droll. Further disallowing the Link 1 from searching for the field spell, which would allow us to additionally summon a Sage with Eyes of Blue. Let's summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck, turning off our ability to activate Special Summon monsters for the rest of this turn. As we main phase 2, Hieratic Heavenly Sphere. Crimson Tier is going to be resummoning the Requiem. Requiem could summon the Lacrima Crimson, which would then set up the Fiendsmith in Paradise, which we might be playing. Now, with this field, we have the ability to disallow them from further adding once they add with Tachyon. And we also have the Hieratic Seal to non-target return a face-up card back to the hand. We can also negate with the Drill Beam if the Hieratic Seal is not negated from summoning a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck to turn on the Drill Beam. Triple disruption. Let's go. Nibiru late to the party. Engraver is attempting to reborn. We're going to chain Requiem to summon from the deck. Crimson Tier, Reborn Engraver here. Crimson Tier, activate to send. Do we even play Chaos Angel? We do not. We're going to return the Crimson Tier back to the hand while they still have an active normal summon. The Blue Eyes on field is now turning on the Drill Beam. The Engraver is going to get rid of the Blue Eyes so that you can't activate Drill Beam. Thus, we're just going to use the Drill Beam at our last moment. Banish and negate the Engraver. Now all we have left is Droll. Let's 7th Tachyon search our deck for the Ryzeal. No longer do we have a sequence on the field which would disallow us from searching, but now the Droll disallows us from searching. So we summon the X to get an Aggregator engraved, normal the Lacrima. Can this make a Detonator? No, it cannot. Detonator requires both monsters to be Ryzeal. Ain't no way. And the Duo Drive can't search, so what do? We make a Bagooska. Plan B. We do any non-link will be negated by Bagooska. So focusing on just our links, what are our plays? Just a Spear with Eyes of Blue. If we could Drill Beam the Bagooska, that'd be great, and we are going to be able to do that on the very next turn as we get a Blue Eyes in the field through the effect of the Spear with Eyes of Blue. Blue Eyes will be forced into defense. Sage obviously is not going to be able to search. Force it to D, additionally summon the Sage. Let's make a Spirit Dragon, which now we can't use the Drill Beam until we already load the Blue Eyes White Dragon back onto the field. So we're ready to banish the Bagooska and then be able to use our Spirit Dragon. This is it. Nibiru, this looks funny, but it was placed on top of the deck and we didn't shuffle our deck because the X-Ryzeal could not search our deck. This was not random. We knew it would come up. All right, giving Blue Eyes a kiss and then surrendering. Nice, okay. Lordy loaded up, grab a barrel from the deck. What the heck was that? Summon from the deck a Robotic Knight. Machine normal. The commander of machine types, he serves the Machine King. He is famous for the way he controls his troops. Against a Bagooska, now I would say famously, the deck does not do well against Bagooska unless you have Super Poly with an Albaz or you have a Forbidden Droplet to negate, which we of course have. So very easily, we're just gonna stop the Bagoo. But the Droplet can be stopped by the Drill Beam. But it can't because we sent a spell. By sending a spell, you now can't chain your spell unless we could chain a monster. If we chain a monster, then we could chain the Drill Beam to our monster, but we don't have anything chainable to the Droplet, so say goodbye to the Bagooska. You're gone. Nicely done. As we have the opening being added to the hand off of the Alubur. But Branded loses the Ash. But knowing that, I didn't add Branded Fusion. I know you're going to hold on to the Ash, so I'm going to make every play that's not Branded Fusion so that you just don't use Ash at all. Well, I still have Drill Beam, and Drill Beam is essentially a second copy of Ash when it comes to Branded Fusion. 2 cards that could just stop your Branded Fusion, Drill Beam now being used. Retribution, add back Engrave the opening, which is a hard once per turn, unfortunately. Oh, the turn we negated Bagooska, we couldn't get rid of Bagooska. That is definitely probably the end for Branded for this duel, I'd say. Lordy Primite freaking Ryzeal. You what, mate? How is this a real deck? Branded opening, discard the Retribution, summon from the deck our Quem. Quem is going to be negated by the Ash, really not allowing us to get an Albaz Engrave. The Albaz would be reborn from the Quem if they were to summon a monster from the extra deck to then fuse with their field to make our much needed Mirror Jade, but Shura is just not allowing it. First we Drill Beam, then we Ash it. Let's pop this off. Cross into the Duo Drive, detach 2 off our field to search our deck for 2 cards. Special summon the X-Ryzeal. We're gonna Aggregator negate the Quem. Special summon from the hand, make the Detonate, attach the Aggregator from Engrave. Node sent from our hand, reborn from Engrave. Further go into the Dugaris. Dugaris, as we now go into the Utopic Ray Lancer, Dugaris double the attack of our Utopic Ray. Utopic Ray with the ability after destroying a monster, attacking again in a row, yes, even directly. And just like that, lethal damage. Let's try again. We're going first. There's hope. We could win this. Branded opening in the draw phase. Play around a Veiler. Play around a Droll and Lockbird. This is why you do not activate the Fua Loss early within the draw phase, because if we waited on the opening, we would be able to chain it to the Fua Loss. Just wait for them to activate something in the draw phase. Otherwise, you just use your Maxi or Fua Loss in the standby phase. Banishment could fuse to the field, and then the fusion itself could be a disruption. Duplication will likely be a form of disruption here, and then we're very likely going to have a way to reborn the Albaz to fuse, and then fuse into a disruption. We could yoink a card out of the graveyard. Maybe if they want to node target a card, you could rip it out, and then we'll probably have about 6 disruption. I'd say 6. There's a lot of overlapping disruptions here, but I'd say 6 is a good number of what to expect. Sanctifier cannot be targeted by the Drill Beam. Tachyon is going to be searching for a barrel, revealing the giant hand. You what, mate? Ice Ryzeal summon for the deck a sword. We're going to Grand Granola trigger because a monster was summoned through a monster effect. as we're now going to summon from the deck or action deck a Ryzeal, which could reduce the opposing field to 0 attack. Grab the Ryzeal. We're going to send Aggregator. Aggregator cannot negate the Sanctifier. As we attempt to negate the Ryzeal doesn't even bother chaining. We don't need to reduce your field. We know you're going to turn them into Exceeses anyway. Duo Drive is here. I'd say we still have a solid 6 disruptions. Call by the Grave, fingering the Albaz. Now, I would say we lose. Even if we get another Albaz and Grave, obviously it's fingered. It's negated. Reborning and fusing their field, that's not going to be a play. We probably lose at least 2 disruptions there. I'd say that we're down to 4. Golden Sword Soul is triggering. This could get a Cartesia or Quem onto the field if we have a Quem in graveyard. We do not. So we'll summon the Cartesia's feet from our hand and ready to fuse. The Mercourier is going to be able to negate, being added back to the hand here thanks to the Branded Sword. Negate. I'd say we're now back down to 4, so that was the secret extra disruption we had. Let's make our Ryzeal Detonator 1 and done. This is it. We're going to Branded Banishment in response to it, attempting to attach a card from the grave. Ghost Spell, negating the effect to Reborn and fuse with either field. So the Sanctifier's done. We still have the effect of the Blazing Cartesia. We could still Fusion Duplication. Duplicate, copy the Branded Fusion Mate. Holy moly, we are getting blown out here. The Bell, the Drill Beam, the Call by the Grave, perfectly being used to stop all of our creative plays. Aliber in the damage step is going to negate the Duo Drive. We have the Detonator protected as it suicides into the Albion Sanctifier. We are going to High Spirits, add within the end phase back, and now back to us as they have the ability to pop 2 cards and negate. Triple Disruption is what we're looking at that we have to deal with. Now, Branded is an incredible grinding deck. It grinds like crazy, lots of recursion. We're adding back the Branded Fusion. If any deck has the most gas possible, it would be Branded winning in a grind matchup. The pressure is really on from any opposing player to end the game early. You're not going to be able to outgrind Branded, especially when you don't have your field spell to return your cards back and continually draw. We're going to use the thrusting a Branded in white to our hand here. We still have our Detach Ice Ryzeal. We're going to banish from Engrave with the Branded white to summon our Albion Branded Dragon. Using the Grave into our Star Source. Star Source is going to be able to pop 2 cards on the field. Going for the Load and the Robotic Knight. We're going to use our final pop as we take out the Star Source, leaving us at now 0 forms of disruption. The Rinbrum is negated, or I thought it was negated. It's not negated. It was actually also able to negate our own card to return a card in the field back, so no pop in order to negate. We could have Chain Link blocked that if we wanted to. Take out the Robotic Knight. Interesting on our negate why we would not want to. I guess we were afraid to Detonator because of the Rinbrum being able to just negate it whenever we want to. And knowing that they were holding on to Detonator, we negate our own card, but then they were now safe to use Detonator to pop our card. Let's grab the opening. Opening, discard, summon a Quem. Yeah, we have some question marks in chat. A lot of that is a bit confusing here on why you want to negate our own card, and then he's not, and then he could safely use the Detonator. We have Barrel. Setting up into the back row, our Lordy Load. Lordy Load it up. We could reset the Drill Beam from Engrave. If we had a second copy, we could have searched it right then and there. Drill Beam obviously not activatable this turn. It's set. Take out the Aliber. Drill away their monster with the Detonator. Reborn back on the field, the Robotic Knight, into now making a Bagooska. Does Bagooska need to get banned or what? How toxic is this card? We have an all-round Floodgate that we have no non-engine card to stop, which we are reliant on cards like Super Poly. We don't really play in Permanence and Branded, I think. Droplet would be one of the main cards to stop it. And in addition to that, having Drill Beam protecting it. So even when we have the out to the Bagooska, they can potentially just negate with Drill Beam. Let's reveal with the Barrel, banish away the Cartesia, which would just be negated if it were to activate in response. We're going to small... Ricky's just like, this sucks. I'm out. No. Bagooska, Drill Beam, and Detonators on top of that? No way. You want mate, Rikka, Rikka. Let's summon the horse off of the Anguish. Come here. We have the Gaddock Reborn. Let's return 5 cards, including the Dark Blade in hand. So we do not have, we're gonna keep the Anguish in grave instead by returning the Dark Blade, because the Anguish with the combined creation is a form of disruption. When reborn, it's gonna search for a mace to take control of a monster. We could banish, we could take control of a monster, we could pop multiple cards on the field, we can potentially go into a Guardian Chimera to pop more cards on the field, we could droplet, further negate a card on the field or multiple cards. About 5 forms of disruption against Rikka plants. Now, I would say this is a special summon slop deck. If anything, without hand traps or board breakers can break this field, it would be this. Late to the party. Are you kidding? Nibiru off the top of the deck. This is why I say a new master rule should be implemented where we don't draw for the turn. We just have the card we would have drawn for the very first turn, increasing our chance to have hand traps because turn 1 is too broken. At the World Championship, turn 1 players on average had a 70% win rate. That makes no freaking sense. If you had 70% win rate in Hearthstone, they would give the second player already, they give them 1 coin to give them +1 point of mana. They'd give them 2 coins. They'd probably be like, crap, the turn 2 player's gotta have 3 coins and draw extra cards at the start of the game. But Konami doesn't care. Konami thinks that Maxi is enough to balance the variance of turn 2 being at such an immense severe disadvantage. Not committing to a normal summon. We're gonna extend and start our combo here. Laurel is gonna gain life. Rikka, Evil Seed, is going to be searching. Banish away the Nibiru since that's now dead. We got the Bloom. We're now with the Anguish grabbing the Sleepy instead of a mace to take control. We could still take control of the Bone Party as we now tribute off of the Rikka Glamour to search for a Snowdrop and a Therion Borea. Therion Borea is going to target a plant in the grave to summon itself onto the field, not committing to a normal yet. Borea is going to send our back row Laurel to search for the Therion Disc Coliseum. The Coliseum is going to attempt to search our deck as the Creation King says, no, I don't think so. I'm going to pop the field spell, disallowing the search, also take away your Borea, and I'm going to chain Bone Party to further summon a Gaddock from the deck. Gaddock on summon can add a card engraved back to our hand. We're going to add back the Anguish. We're ready for a Guardian Chimera play. With the Bloom, we are ready to reborn back in the field the Evil Seed, special summon the Beetle, as the Sleepy is now going to fuse the field into a Twin Dragon. Twin Dragon inherently itself is not a form of disruption. Gaddock is going to trigger to reborn itself back. Twin is popping a monster from the hand or field to search for 2 monsters. Now, while the Twin itself is not inherently a disruption, it searched for a mace, similarly to how the Anguish could search for the mace, and the mace, while we control the combined, can now take control of a monster. Well, what do we take control of against a plant deck? We're going to summon that Guardian Chimera, which will draw 1 and non-target, pop 2. We still had more. We still had Droplet. We still had Mace. We still had Little Knight. We still had 3 disruption. Let's unexpected die. Remember when they had downsides to a card summoning for the deck? You have to control no monsters to even use this. You can't just use another one. Are you out of your mind? We have in grave a princess. See, layered disrupt. We have disruption in the back row, disruption in the grave, disruption on the field. Starting with the grave, the princess will straight up negate a monster effect by tributing off their monster with the con-con. That in a way could be double disruption. We have in the back row, sheet. You could sheet on the opponent by taking control of their monster, and then it cannot be activated. And then we have the Bangle Lancer, which could return a monster back to the hand. We have the Rose Whip, which is a floodgate, disallowing more than 1 spell and trap card to be activated per turn. That's, I guess, about 5 forms of disruption. Am I missing something? I guess we could tribute the Strenna which could then turn into a form of disruption. So this is even more protection from a card like Dark Ruler No More or a Droplet. Tribute this with Princess, and then we will have about 6 disruptions. Let's go. Sheet on them. Droplet. 1 monster sent to negate the Rose Whip. We're now down to 5 disruption. Super Poly. Fuse the Strenna, which was a disruption, into the Garura. Goblin Biker, tribute off the Garura, summon the Goblin, trigger the Garura to draw a card. We're going to sheet on the Goblin, take control of it by tributing off the Dance Peon. Instead of being cheated on, we're going to chain pop as we have the Bengal Lancer and we still have the Princess, right? Princess did not activate yet. When do we want to Resurgent? When do we want to Princess? Is Princess not activatable? I don't think it is, actually, right? Don't you have to control a Rikka? You have to control a Rikka to even be able to activate the Princess. So by fusing away the Strenna, which was a disruption when tributed, it also got rid of the Mudan. Mudan was allowing the Princess to be activated. We only have Bengal Lancer to return a monster back. That's it. During the main phase, target an effect monster and then return it back to the hand. So ideally an extra deck monster to bounce it back, which we don't know if they have a monster in hand. This wants to pop itself, search for 2 monsters, then trigger the effect to reborn a monster in grave. If we return this back, no search, no reborn. Is this the play? Nope. I don't know. I mean, we didn't know what the Droplet's a Droplet. It could have been another monster. And if it were another monster, they would at least, you know, that was the risk, that they could have still popped a monster in hand. But when else are we going to bang the Lance? When are we lancing? Donner now forces it. Now I have to bounce you back because the Donner would pop itself plus the Bengal Lancer. And we're now at nothing. We got nothing. The Princess couldn't even activate. Super Poly killed the Princess, killed the Strenna. Couldn't even Floodgate with the Rose Whip because immediately got dropleted. I mean, this is supposed to be our protection from board breakers and even extenders. How much could a Maliss deck extend? Let's say they have an Allure of Darkness, a Field Spell, a Gold Sark. They can use more than one. They are stuck to just one. Oh boy, we are popping off. Let's get to it. Let's do it. Directly attacking thanks to the effect of the Acheron on summon, allowing level 9 monsters or higher to attack directly. Lethal damage. Thank you to both of you. Let's keep on going. And there you have it, YouTube. That was the top 16. We'll be advancing to the top 8 grand finale and top deck list, where we're going to see Blue Eyes White Dragon versus Memento. That's right, not Ryzeal, not Maliss. Let's go.